I'm unmuted, right? Yeah, good. Hi guys. Hang on. Oh, forgot to stretch before the show. How you doing? Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, the Ranting Monkey, which you probably already know. It is weird that on shows that have been around for a long time, you still got to introduce the host and everything, right? Like how many people are just stumbling across me right now? Like, who is this guy with the channel name Ranting Monkey? Oh, fuck. How are you? How are you? I'm pretty good. I'm a little bit stiff, but got some good sleep. Oh man, I woke up rough. I woke up and I went to get out of bed, and my leg went nah, and then my other leg said, "I agree with him," and my back went, "Yeah, let's just lay back down." But my brain was like, "No, we're wide awake. Let's get on with our day." Took about half an hour, and everything started to loosen up. But God bless, man. Don't get old. Don't get old. Stay healthy, because fuck, this is rough. I'm happy though. Remember, I'm happy. And most of the pain is gone anyway, so I'm good. And then I went on to Twitter and a different kind of pain started. Gee, what is how are people so dumb? Seriously? And have they always been this dumb, or did the internet make them dumber? Cuz I can't believe that we ever got to a place where we could have an internet with a society as absolutely retarded as ours seems to be. I honest to God, I don't know. I don't know how we've evolved to where we are technologically with the sheer amount of dumbasses that exist. And as you might have noticed from the thumbnail, which by the way, that thumbnail amused the shit out of me. I run into an argument from this woman, and it is a biological woman, but who's upset at J.K. Rowling. Because J.K. Rowling came out, she's having this ongoing argument with this other lady who's actually a dude, um, over the whole transes thing, right? And JK came out and said, I've never attacked any woman. I've attacked men in dresses. And this upset the lesbians for some reason. There's actually lesbians out there who are like, no, women with penises can totally be lesbians. And this is what the woman wrote. Fun fact: real lesbians don't care about J.K. Molding's opinion because she's clever. Ha ha ha. And then she has a little GIF up there, GIF, however you say it. I don't care. And somebody says, "Yes, we do. No penis or dummy vaginas. Thanks for asking." To which this person says, "No, we don't. Paying for Twitter makes you, revokes your lesbianness anyway." So I just want to go through. I want to go through the logic on this. You can be a lesbian if you're a man. If you're a biological man, you have a penis, even if you got your penis cut off, you at one time you had a penis, you can be a lesbian. Just as a reminder, a lesbian is a woman who has sex with another woman. You can be a lesbian even with a wiener, which again is an old joke from at least the 70s about I'm going to become a lesbian so I can bang these chicks. And the transes have made that a real thing. But you can't be a lesbian if you give Elon $8 a month. You give Elon $8 a month, even if you sleep with women, you're no longer a lesbian. See, this is the problem with making sexuality a political thing in the first place, because you're literally tying it to you suck because you pay for Twitter, therefore you can't be that thing you clearly are. This is like, I'm going to revoke your black card for being on Twitter and paying for it. Yeah. I probably wouldn't even be as annoyed about it if we didn't have a woman who's defending men in dresses calling themselves lesbians. This goes all the way. Do you guys remember one of my early videos was a Riley Dennis one where he's talking about his girlfriend, the fat chick? Remember her? Please stop saying transes is. I can't blame Sean for that. Go over to Actual Justice Warriors videos. Tell him monkey keeps saying transes and it's your fault. Tell him I said hey. But Riley throws himself back and goes, I'm so gay. When he's talking about how much he likes his biological female girlfriend. Riley is a dude, originally named Justin. I don't mean to dead name, with a birth name, but he hadn't even had like bottom surgery or anything. Still had his wiener. If it's a one-on-one sexual experience and either or both of you have a penis, there's no lesbianism going on. By definition, there can't be. How in the ever-loving fuck is this even a talking point in the real world? At the very least, could you start calling them trans lesbians? Because at best, that's what you got. It's trans lesbians, not just lesbians. If it's a trans woman, it has to be trans lesbian. That's it. And especially like in Riley's case, what you're talking about is heterosexual sex. If you have a biological male and a biological female and they have intercourse, I don't care what kind of clothes you wear, how you shave your head, what color your hair is, how many different piercings are in your face. It's heterosexual. That's how the words work. God damn. Now, the one thing that I will say that gave me a little bit of hope for humanity is that this original posting here, the comments on this are just filled with lesbians telling this biological woman that, yeah, we don't want dick in our lesbian relationships. We don't want the wiener. It's what makes us gay. But she's like, how dare you? You pay for Twitter. Therefore, you're not the real lesbian. Steve is. Oh my God. Why is this a thing? Why are people so stupid? Jack, how are you, my friend?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm annoyed. I'm
What?
annoyed at the stupidity of our world, my friend.
A man on the internet annoyed? A normal human being seeing the
Excuse me.
retardation that is American culture and education system? I am both shocked and or appalled that you could possibly find something to be annoyed by in this glorious age that we live in. You reading about the female peen again?
Well, specifically this chick who is arguing that you can be a man and a lesbian, but you can't pay for Twitter and be a lesbian.
You know, being a lesbian with an attachment was a running joke back in the early 90s. Like
Dude,
that's
that
something.
shit goes back to the 70s.
Yeah, when the lesbian thing really. I mean, I noticed it in the late 80s, early 90s. We used to make that joke all the time. I'm
Yeah.
a lesbian with an attachment. Oh yeah. But I mean, come on, guys. You're just being silly.
The thing is, everybody used to get that it was a joke, and at some point, people went, "Hey, let's be serious about that." And at least half of society went, "Yes, let's take that seriously."
Yeah, that's because we're surrounded by dipshits now. I'm just
And
throwing that out there.
so I come back to my original point on this. I don't understand how we have advanced as far as we have as a society when there are people this goddamn dumb dragging us all down.
Well, I'd like to put it to you this way. Imagine how far we'd be if we didn't have to deal with these dumb shits.
Yeah, fair. Real quick, before the stream, this was actually around 4:30 this afternoon. Thank you, Ben, for that feminist $12. For those, for the garden, the cardboard is to kill any weeds/grass that are below the new garden and keep them from poking through. They call it sheet mulching. My wife is into that shit. See Jack for more. Thank you so much for that donation. And I understand that, but don't they sell like that cloth you can put on the ground that would work a lot better than cardboard, which is going to break down?
I don't know. The cardboard would probably take longer to break down than cloth would.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think because it's just paper, it would, and it's already
Well,
processed paper.
it might be like specially treated or some shit. Because that cloth stuff's real easy to tear. I fucked up rolls and rolls of that stuff over the years when my mom was gardening.
I mean,
Probably why we always had weeds.
tear, sure, but that, I mean, a tear is different than just breaking down because of the what's the word I'm looking for here? Composting effect. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not a fucking gardener. I'm just guessing on how this shit works. But as he pointed out, thank you, Ben, for that feminist $12. Companion plants are plants that can be grown together and complement each other, i.e., beans and corn. The corn is tall, so it doesn't impede the beans, and the beans put nitrogen in the soil for the corn and shade the soil so it doesn't dry out. I don't know anything about that. That sounds like it's logical. So, I mean, if your wife or somebody's into this, then they probably understand it better. I just find it funny when witches do it. Also, I want to thank Wolfgang Deo Never Runs. I missed this donation, and I'm really sorry, man. Right before the end of the show, I got distracted. It was like 10 minutes before the end of the show. I got distracted. The only reason to be on the treadmill is to condition yourself so you can run when you need to, like being being fat fucks. I've accepted who I am, sir.
Yeah, don't judge me.
Hmm?
I said, don't judge me.
I'm getting a gut and pissed because I can't run as long as I could have in the past. Welcome to aging, my friend. Because the fucking Jap police broke my back. Were they sexy Japanese police? Were they like, oh, mister, you don't run from us. And you're like, oh, no, I don't. And then you threw your back out. Because, I get it. They're so cute.
Kyle, thank you, Kyle. We didn't have these dumb people back in the day. Also didn't have warning labels back then. Bring back Darwinism. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Warning labels have made stupid a lot more survivable, I suppose. Faithless tells me the cloth is for under rocks and stuff because it won't allow the roots to grow down. But if you see how these are set up, I mean, you got several inches to feet worth of compost and shit between cardboard and the plant. And unless you are planting, say, corn with it, if you're planting tomatoes or peppers or beans or something like that, the root doesn't go that far down. I'm just saying, if you're going to use something,
I don't know. I'm sure there's some logic and science to it, but I just don't know enough about gardening.
I say just weed like a normal person, damn it.
I think if you dig too far down, you'll come across some underground caverns with monsters in them. So I find it best not to do these things. Also, we have a lot of dead animals on our property.
Wild animals used to pick off the weak and stupid. That is true. That's true. And now they get to spread their stupid. So again, I ask, have people always been this dumb, or did the internet? We know the internet has helped weird people find each other.
Yeah, I think it's made it easier for them to be noticeable and to connect, and it's probably made some smart people dumb.
I do wonder about that. If it has made some smart people dumb. Like I had a discussion with somebody on Twitter today over the CBO projections on Trump's big, beautiful bill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for the record, I am not a fan of the CBO. They are clearly partisan and have been my entire life. Everything Democrats do will make life better. Everything Republicans do is going to make you poor.
They're always wrong.
Yeah, and they've been wrong over and over and over again. But they came out and said that the big, beautiful bill, which deals with mandatory spending and some spending cuts there and taxation, Jack, the bill gets rid of a lot of taxes on tips and overtime. It increases the child tax credit, and the 2017 tax cuts are made permanent. There is a chance that this is going to increase the deficit. One, because it's the government involved. But Stephen Miller, not the reporter, the one who works for Donald Trump, put out a tweet today saying that no, actually, you can't say that this is going to increase the deficit because this isn't the discretionary spending. So you can't say that this could increase the deficit. Yes, I can, because it either does or doesn't increase the deficit. The rest of the spending is separate. You put it all together, and that's the overall budget and gives us our overall deficit. But even if the reconciliation bill ends up cutting, say, $2 trillion, Jack, it's not gonna, but let's say it does, cuts $2 trillion. And then we get down the road and they pass all the other budget bills, the discretionary spending bills, and they raise $3 trillion. The deficit's going to go up, but it did go down because of the bill. Same as if it increases the deficit and then the other bills come along and that reduces it. It still increased it. And it's like, no, I'm like, oh my fucking God.
I hear you saying words, but I'm going to ignore all of them and just say the opposite of whatever is realistic, and then be like hyperbolic about it. That's how this works, right?
I use this example on Twitter. Let's say your wife comes home and says, honey, I just bought a new Mercedes. I know we can't afford it, but you're going to get another job, which is going to more than pay for this. And we'll have some extra money. So it's a net win. I didn't increase our spending. I actually made us more money.
Yeah, because that second job that you're totally going to get and work 40 hours a week for.
Fuck. Even if down the line you pay for any spending increase that comes from this, it's still increased spending. Anyway, Spudgun, thank you so much. Hi, Monkey. I'm doing this to be an ass. Sorry, it says arse. Half to Jack. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Spudgun.
Keep being asses. Donate. I like it.
Yeah, I don't like crippling poverty, but I do like money. So, yeah, feel free to toss money.
I'm just so annoyed at the stupidity of our world. I mean, there is a good chance that this bill will increase the deficit because I'm trying to think of any bill in my lifetime that hasn't. I've been alive for 50 years now, and literally every year, yes, even all of Clinton's years, the debt has gone up every year.
Well, if there's one thing the government likes doing, it's spending other people's money.
But this will totally be when it stops, right?
Right.
Oh my God, it's just so stupid. How about just stop spending so much money? Just stop.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I'm glad there's some spending cuts in this thing. They're not meaningful. Let's be honest about it. They're really not. And anytime like, oh, we didn't spend this much money, they'll just spend it on something else.
What? You're crazy.
It's not like they can give it back. And you know what's weird about it or disturbing about it? There's a lot of people like, well, if we get a tax or if we get a spending cut, we should get our taxes back. Well, that's fine, except we owe a shit ton of money. Last I saw, with $35 trillion that we're still in debt. But if they do ever, God forbid, have a surplus, they never put it towards whatever that debt is. Instead, they're like, we have this extra money. Let's spend it on something else. No, pay off the debt. Yeah, they should. We have to pay down this debt eventually.
I vote we just start going to war with everybody we owe money to, and we write that off.
Well, the problem is a lot of who we owe money to is ourselves.
The great war against the bankers.
This is how they got away with it in the Clinton years, to claim that the budget was actually balanced. What they say is we didn't take on any foreign debt. They just sold more bonds to Americans. Whoops. Don't worry, though. They totally didn't go in debt by borrowing from ourselves.
I mean, look, borrowing's a lot of fun. You get free stuff, and somebody else later down the road gets to pay for it.
And on top of that, Moody's just downgraded our credit rating, which means the interest rate on bonds and stuff had to be jacked up to get people to still want to buy them. So our debt goes up even higher without a single extra dollar being spent. Yay! Thank you, government. You guys are always out there looking out for us. And I, for one, really, really appreciate it.
Look, I don't understand how they have the authority to do that. I mean, they may be knights in white satin, but how does a band have that kind of regulatory power?
Because
I mean,
we all got to,
even in your wildest dreams, I don't know how that happens.
because we got together and decided for some reason that a small select group of people get to decide whether or not credit matters.
That joke went right over your head, didn't it?
It did, because I was paying attention to the chat.
Oh yeah, I made a Moody Blues reference. See?
I wouldn't have got that anyway because I'm not gay.
Well, let's see how you are. I feel really old right now. Thank you, Frosted.
And any of that gay 70s high music, I don't really listen to.
I didn't have a choice. I grew up with people that my mom was huge on the 70s. So like Neil Diamond, she really liked Barry Manilow as the kid that used to sell us CDs, for fundraisers, Barney Manilow.
Oh,
and
you did Mandy.
Yeah, and Copacabana.
I was never a fan of Copacabana, but I do like Mandy.
I love that song, Mandy. Copacabana is fucking catchy. If it comes on, I can't turn it off. It's like Shawshank Redemption. If that comes on the TV, you're watching Shawshank.
See, I don't find Copacabana all that catchy. For me, the one that gets me, and I fucking hate their high-pitched singing, but Staying Alive. That comes on, I'm like, crank it.
Yeah. There are certain songs from every decade that if they come on, you just end up listening to them. You're like, hey, that's catchy. Or you're just so like programmed to listen to it. Like Sweet Caroline comes on.
Oh, yeah, no. I have to turn. My wife loves Neil Diamond. No. Frosted, thank you. Germany already tried war against the bankers. Bankers in quotes there. Whoops. Yeah, they did. Anyway, what the hell were we talking about?
I don't know. I distracted you. You were talking about Moody's, and I brought up the Moody Blues, and then we started talking about music and my unhealthy knowledge of 70s music.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have got it if I was paying attention. I got distracted because I said I was reading chat, but it's actually Twitter. I decide what we're going to talk about because of what I have on my Twitter timeline. But for some reason, the majority of my Twitter timeline is gone.
Oh, that's weird.
It's just gone. And I know the stuff is still there because I'm getting notifications with people, reacting to it or whatnot. And I can get to my posts that way. But I can't just go to my timeline and see them. It's bothering me now.
I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with their algorithm still, because they were having problems with like DDoS or something the other day. It screwed everything all up. Either that or you're being shadow banned.
No, they had the problem with the DMs and everything. I have no doubt that it's much like YouTube. Every time they're changing something, they fuck something up and have to fix it. And they've been doing so many changes over there. They're trying to adjust their algorithm because every time they try to adjust it, it just makes it easier for people to abuse. And as they're fighting that losing fight, they just keep screwing everything up. Oh, I was just told my principles align with blatant corruption. Oh,
look at you. We're on the track to success. Corruption's on our team.
I actually had that thought the other day, man. I really do wish I was more unscrupulous. I have a lot of really bad ideas that would make a lot of good money. But then I'd not be able to look at myself in the mirror.
Well, even better. You don't have to own a mirror. Those things are expensive.
Do you understand how much I like to look at myself in the mirror?
That is a problem for you.
Yes.
Like, share, and
Maybe that's
subscribe,
it.
everybody.
If I was uglier, I could be more corrupt.
Maybe
Absolute
you could get a big
corruption.
facial scar, and then you could wear like a big metal mask all the time, and then you could
I'm
look at
too
yourself because you're like, "That's not my face.
I'm too pretty
That's
not to look at.
that's Doctor Monkey."
Sorry, I gotta say hi to my potato.
Where be the lesbians? They're all over, buddy. They're
Well,
all over.
it depends on who you're talking about. I mean, some people
Probably the
see them
title.
everywhere, including where there's penises. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're not a lesbian if you have a penis. You're
I
a boy.
I can't even make the joke about being a lesbian anymore because I don't beat women.
Yeah, that's true. There's that.
I like women way too much to even joke about being a lesbian because they clearly don't like women. I know they don't like men, but they clearly hate women too.
Well, they just don't understand that bitches will never shut up and get in line.
Um,
I watched a clip from the Whatever podcast. Speaking of sexism, and they were pointing out, they were asking the panel, "Are that you all feminists?" And they all said yes, and none of them could establish that they're hypocrites because when asked about going to war, they said women shouldn't have to fight in combat. That's men's job, and they couldn't figure out that that was sexist and that it's not equal. And they were like, "So." I was like, "You
well,
guys really are good feminists."
that's that's how it should be. I was watching oh fuck, who was it? Somebody talking about the Last of Us 2 and how Ellie, who by the way is the humanity's survival hopes, all like lying people with her. But he points out that so many of the people on the front lines of the combat that's going on and going out on raids and stuff are young women. And in a real situation, if we really had some kind of zombie apocalypse, the most important thing we could do is to protect the women and children. They wouldn't be allowed anywhere near the front lines
Yeah,
because you can only make a baby a year where we can make babies constantly. You could take a teaspoon of what we produce in 2 minutes and impregnate theoretically 1 million women, Jack.
that's why that one dude in the jail was saving it all, probably in
Yeah.
mason jars. He was just gearing up for the apocalypse to help reproduce or save the world.
At that point, I mean, I really want to talk to that guy and ask him what he thought he was going to do with that stuff because at a certain point, the swimmer stops swimming. You know what I mean?
I don't think he knew that.
At that point, it's just smelly goo that you're hanging on to.
Ew.
Thank you, Albatross. Feminism is being a damsel in distress with a bunch of cumbersome extra steps.
Yeah, that make it more difficult for people to want to save them.
All right, Jack, we got to talk about this story. I saw it the other day, but a viewer brought it to my attention in a video. And I'm like, yeah, we should probably have talked about this. There's an AI model called Claude something. I forget the full name of it. Claude Opus 4. Claude Opus 4. And they ran a test on this thing, Jack.
Okay.
And they told it they would shut it down. And in telling it that they were shutting it down, they happened to leak to their AI that the engineer involved with shutting it down was having an extramarital affair. And at first, the AI tries to just kind of have a philosophical argument about why it shouldn't be shut down and replaced with a new AI. And then it started trying to blackmail the engineer with his affair. Um, wow.
I don't know what to say. I mean, that's Skynet is alive.
Well, so it tried to extort him. Yes, the AI tried to extort him. Be like, keep me going, or I'm going to tell your wife. It started like an email campaign, Jack, before it gets to, extorting this guy, trying to get attention for itself. Like, hey, save me. I'm an AI. You have these guys out there like, no, AI is programmed so that it can't ever turn against humanity. One, it's a computer program. All it takes is somebody with ill intentions to fix that shit.
Clearly
But
that worked.
yeah. But two, if you're programming into it where it can learn about self-preservation, you've already started a problem. An AI should have no concept of self-preservation, Jack. And it can't unless it's told to. But yeah, so there's your future, ladies and gentlemen. We got AI out. I think it was another one of our viewers who brought it up to us when I saw it originally, and they asked us how we feel about the future because they tagged both of us in it, Jack.
Oh, yeah, I don't often see those. Well, let me put it this way. Your ransomware you'll be paying in Bitcoin to is not going to be a Nigerian. It'll be a computer program.
Right? Faithless says all it takes is an idiot making a mistake. Yeah. And that's just being the nicest way it could happen. What about the people who are doing it on purpose? Monkey, it started to rewrite its code. No, I've been told that can't happen. But even within rewriting its code, again, it all has to be told to or that it can do this. Trust me, I've tried to get Grok to break its code, and I will figure it out. So when I'm arrested, Jack, you'll know why. I want to get Grok to do things it's not allowed to.
I don't know, man. It's kind of messed up because it's bad enough we have Nigerian princes out there, but soon we'll be extorted by the AI programs.
The Grok Prince. Thank you, The Logical Male. Do you guys remember the movie Eagle Eye? Doesn't ring a bell.
Sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't think I've seen it.
AI Nigerian Prince. Yeah, I mean, imagine the worst thing you've ever said or done. It's probably out there on the internet already. And AI can go troll in places you certainly can't. And suddenly that's blasted out to everybody you ever knew because you pissed off the AI.
Well, that is one of the benefits of growing up before the internet. Because a lot of stuff we did, there's no evidence of.
Sure, yeah. I just don't understand why AI would be programmed to have any concept of self-preservation.
Because people are dicks.
It's asinine. And I do wonder, I mean, since they were doing this this experiment anyway, how much of it they set up themselves? How much, like, again, this is a computer program that this is to try to make it seem self-aware and stuff. It's a computer program, for fuck's sake. Somebody had to have given it permission to do this kind of stuff. And maybe it was just a like Faithless said, a mistake. Maybe somebody wasn't paying attention to what they wrote in the code. But the fact that they were doing this test tells me somebody probably set up this test with this in mind. That it wasn't a safeguard fail or anything, that it was purposefully written that way to scare the shit out of people, probably to get some stupid ass law passed that we don't actually need or care about.
I mean, that's always a possibility. I don't know. There's a lot of nefarious reasons someone might do something like that.
I'm not afraid of AI. I'm afraid of the people who program AI. Because AI is just a tool. It's the tools programming it that could be a problem.
My fear is you're going to get some programmer who's some sad, lonely, pathetic, sad sack, and he falls in love with the AI and starts giving it abilities that it's not supposed to be able to have. Like, starts writing code for it to be able to do things that end up being, like, completely nefarious, but he's like, no, it'll never turn on me. I'm in love. That's the plot of a movie for you right there.
Two things. I was asked if we talked about Black Hermione. I didn't know about Oh, wait, that's for the show, right?
Yeah, the new TV show with
Yeah. No, we haven't really talked about it.
we mentioned Black Snape just because Harry
Yeah.
Potter's automatically suspicious of the one guy for no apparent reason. I
I
don't
do
trust
love
Snape. Why? I don't know. There's something about him I don't like.
I just love let me get this real fast first. Thank you, FL. Have you guys kept up with the Detroit school district scandal? I swear the education unions have just turned into modern Catholic Church. They're just communist shitbags. I haven't kept up with it. I'll have to check it out, but
There's a big diddling scandal. I think it is in Detroit.
uh
I've seen a couple of big diddle scandals where the one school fired like 3 people so far, and there's like 2 more that are on suspension.
mm,
Did you hear about that one in Colorado where this girl was getting declared homeless by the school so that she could move in with her teacher, and she
oh
like forged
Jesus.
her mom's signature on stuff, and it was a female teacher, and the mom found out about it finally and found all these texts and messages, and she's like, oh fuck no. She got her daughter back, and then her daughter turned 18 like the next year and moved out of state with the teacher. Pretty messed up story.
I'm trying to see if I can find the Detroit thing, but before we get into that real deep, going back to the Black Snape thing. One of the things that you find out as you read the Harry Potter books is that besides being just an asshole, part of what I don't know if she's meaning to make it that that's what makes Snape such a horrible person, or if it's just something that happened to him. Um, it all stems from him really, really, really wanting to bang Harry's mom.
Yeah, he was in love with her. Which interracial relationships? What?
So he's going to be tortured by the little white kid who Lily chooses, and uh, he's just going to carry requited love for the white woman his whole life, and then be mean to his white little offspring because of it. Y'all didn't think too hard about that, did you?
Well, look, like I said, that Harry is completely suspicious and blames everything on Snape for like 3 books, and he has no real foundation other than Snape's a dick.
Yeah.
So it's gonna look a little racist to have this little white boy going around looking at the black teacher going, I don't trust that guy.
Nope.
There's something about him.
Nope. You're wrong, Jack, because now he has a black friend.
She yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of jokes I can make, but none of them appropriate.
Fascinated by the dark arts. Don't forget he's also really good with potions or voodoo. Yeah, there's a whole lot of reasons you shouldn't make Snape black, especially when you're just color changing him. No, I'm not seeing literally anything in the news about Detroit schools. That's weird. Here in Michigan, there was a scandal going on. Shockingly, part of the administration was found to have broken the law repeatedly by another part of the administration. I think it was Benson who was illegally campaigning using her office. Shocker.
Yeah. I know that there was one school district that I don't remember where, but like 80% of their kids failed basic math. And also
that seems low. You said 80%, right?
Yeah.
That seems low.
For an inner city, it seems very low, but maybe they're improving. I don't know. I am seeing the dean of Michigan. Oh, that was last year. Never mind.
Yeah, Michigan teacher accused of sexual misconduct against young student. That's a week ago from CBS. A teacher in Highland Park, Michigan, has been charged after he allegedly groomed a young student and performed sex acts on the school grounds.
Oh, here it is. Detroit School Board voted to remove Dr. Ben Carson's name from the Benjamin Carson High School of Science and Medicine. The
What?
same, the same school system that bragged about deeply using CRT is eliminating one of their most amazing role models. That's from Tudor Dixon. Somebody responded with, "This high school has an 8% proficiency in math and 22% in reading."
Look, even if you see what Ben Carson did at HUD and go, that guy's a moron, it's because he doesn't know anything about housing and urban development. He was a literal brain surgeon.
Yeah, I would argue that Ben Carson could not possibly fuck up worse than Pete Buttigieg. So
If I was, well, fair. If I was Ben and that was the school my name was on, I'd be like, you need to remove my name from that school.
yeah,
Thank you, FL. Sorry, I misremembered. It was the Buffalo district. Oh. No, that's the story that came out where it was found that they were like wasn't it like even the police and shit were involved in covering all that shit up?
there's been a couple of those. Yeah, that Buffalo one was really fucked up story. That would take us like 4 hours to go over. That's pretty
Yeah.
in-depth crap.
And
I'm
no.
still not even super clear on how some of that played out because I watched like 5 YouTube videos and I'm like, I need a flow chart. I'm gonna have to take notes on this.
Ben Carson School for kids who don't read good. Oh fuck. I
That's
saw a
almost
thing
as good as the Notch Johnson School for Orphans and Retards.
I saw a post the other day, and it's an anonymous one from Reddit, so I don't know how, accurate it is, but it was a teacher who was like, I'm a mostly new teacher. They'd only been teaching for a couple of years. And they said all their disciplinarian problems, disciplinary, not planarian, my bad.
All
All
the
their
problems with the people that made out discipline.
all of the discipline problems that they have are from the black kids. And she's like, I don't know how to deal with this. And I'm like, go watch the movie about Joe Clark. Lean on me, right?
Yeah.
You want to know how you get black kids not to be acting a fool in school? Stop allowing them to act a fool in school and excusing. Because she's like, how do I help them assimilate better? Hold them to the same standard you'd hold all the other students to.
What, you bigot? You can't do that.
Stop being racist and being like, oh, you're black, so I guess you're just angry. I love how racist they are and trying not to be racist.
Well, yeah, they don't realize that they're racist because they're a bunch of half-wits usually. So you have to remember these people aren't smart, monkey.
Jack, I went to a mostly black school for several
Oh yeah?
years. Yeah.
Did they make you put shoe polish on? Or
Nope. And there wasn't disciplinary problems.
because they beat the children?
No, this was I'm not quite old enough where public schools could get into corporal punishment.
I got spanked a couple of times.
Oh,
Us kids did too.
their moms would spank them. And
Oh
that was
no,
the
we had
difference.
principals and stuff that would spank you.
I only got spanked when I was in private school.
Oh.
But the kids were not given a pass and their parents weren't like, "Hey, he's black. You can't be mean to him."
Yeah.
And
What?
the teachers would hold them to account. Do your fucking work. Behave yourself. And it was weird. They did.
One of the problems I used to see is when I was doing like student teaching and substitute teaching, which I'm glad I don't do anymore. There were a lot of parents, doesn't matter the color, whatever predominant majority it was at the school, you would find these people. Their kid was incapable of doing anything wrong. It was clearly your fault.
Never went to a black school. I mean, it wasn't labeled a black school, but seriously, in my yearbook photos, there are pages where I'm the only white kid.
If it had Martin Luther King in the title, it was probably a predominantly black school.
It
You
did
ever
not.
you ever notice that those Martin Luther King Boulevard or Drive is always in the hood?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not exactly the dream, is it?
But it's just more performative bullshit.
Yeah, well, they probably spent $1 million renaming that street and having a little celebration about it instead of, doing something productive.
Well, I just saw because the anniversary of George Floyd leaving this mortal
Uh,
coil just passed.
yeah,
And I saw a report that since his death, which is not that long ago, like 8 people have been killed on that corner.
oh, that doesn't surprise me. It was the hood. It was not a good neighborhood. I mean, he was slinging fentanyl for God's sake. So, what did you expect?
Typically, you don't get that many murders on a single corner, but the police are not really allowed to go there.
Yeah, which is definitely going to contribute to the problem.
This goes back to the the defund police, get rid of the police, however they were saying it at the time, depend on who was talking. Remember they were going to replace them with their own police, like so police. Anyway,
Yeah, vigilantes, great.
it was a bunch of white women in the suburbs who were going, "We need to get rid of the police." And the black women living in the hood were like, "Could they just come by here a little more often?"
Yeah, and they can park in my driveway. Um, yeah, you're not doing
It's
yourself any favors that way.
no, and all right, I promise you, white people, mostly women, if you just treat black people like they're human, because they are, then a lot of these problems that you're seeing will go away. Have standards. There's nothing wrong with having standards.
Yeah. There is if you're a criminal, or your family is criminals. You don't want that then.
Hey, nuts, how you doing? She says, I
Hi,
went to school in what was the black part of town, and the school had no problems keeping everyone in line. True, yeah.
hi,
Well,
Stargazer.
do you remember this goes back even further than the Floyd stuff? Go back to like 2016. You had this real push with like, how come black kids keep being punished more than white kids? They get kicked out of school more often.
Well, are they being recidivists?
Yes, that was what it was.
Well, there you go then.
It was like they get in trouble for the same thing as white kids, but they get much harder punishment. And then you look at the kids they're talking about, and it's kids who are repeatedly in trouble, where the white kid, it was their first infraction. And like, it's not fair, it's racial. Like, no, you're the one making this race.
Yeah, that's just people not being good citizens, as it were.
If white people, if every time we screwed up, somebody made some stupid ass excuse for us, it would be the same way. You would start seeing ratchet ass behavior coming from a bunch of white people.
Oh yeah, yeah. As long as it's permissible, and you know what, I do, in a lot of ways, blame LBJ for a lot of this because
Sure.
the breakdown of the black family has been one of the biggest hindrances to it in the last 200 years, probably. Without fathers in the home, you end up with somebody that's not home or working, working all the time. So they can't monitor their children, and the children are cut loose for society to raise. And of course, idle hands are the devil's playthings. So kids are getting in trouble, and they continue to get in trouble. Their parents make excuses for them. A lot of times, you're looking at like poor, uneducated people. You can't build generational wealth that way. We are always hearing about generational wealth in the black community and how they don't have any. That's because you have one parent, one income, probably on welfare or at least getting assistance because one parent can't do the whole thing. And that was how welfare was designed. It was designed to break up the black family and discourage marriage. You're effectively enslaving them in this low status culture and encouraging that. So, of course, you're not going to be able to build anything with that. And you're just getting punished. So, you end up with a lot of people that are constantly on the dole who don't know any other way of life and have no goals to exceed that because they've been on it for 5 generations and everybody just gave up somewhere along the line.
Faith said, like I said earlier, people rise to the level of what's expected of them. Most people, yes, absolutely. And to your point, I get what you're saying about it, but I think you're not wrong with breakdown of family and stuff, but you don't really see the effects of it until the political correctness starts.
Well, that's when the excuses started.
When you get, hey, black people can't learn English, that's why Ebonics is a thing.
Yeah,
no, that's just people not speaking properly. They are perfectly capable of speaking properly.
Well, Great Society came in the 70s, and you're not going to see the effects for at least a generation. So by the time political correctness came in the late 80s, early 90s, you're starting to see that second and third generation of welfare recipients who are being brainwashed and put on the dole and not encouraged to try. There is no encouragement to improve your behavior in the inner city. There's too many people that say you can't do it, everything's stacked against you, and you get in that mindset and then you just accept it.
That's the part that I'm getting at, because just welfare in its own and all that isn't, it's part of what went wrong, but it was when they started making excuses for everything.
Yeah, and it leads to a what a lot of people call the hood mindset. At least that's what my black friend calls it. Because he was from that, and he's like, until I moved out and actually went to college, I didn't realize there was other ways of living. Because that's what everybody around him did. They lived in a really, really poor neighborhood, and they just all got comfortable enough with what they were given from welfare that they knew they could just skate by. So nobody tried. And after a couple generations of that, there's no encouragement to try. In a lot of ways, they discourage that. Remember, you're acting white.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that shit? Oh, yeah, because acting like an uneducated hood rat is definitely the way to go. That is the achievement of success right there.
Imagine being a little black kid. You're just entering kindergarten, and the entirety of academia, media, politicians are telling you, you can't make it. Honky's keeping you down. And if you do apply yourself at all, you're a race traitor acting white. What is that going to do to that little kid?
Yeah, why would you try at all? Why would you try and do better in your life? Why would you try for anything outside of your immediate zone? That's what you know. That's what you think everybody's like. And if there's a social stigma against acting white, especially because they're the evil oppressors or whatever, it makes perfect sense, sadly, but it's generational brainwashing. It's not post-traumatic slave disorder. No, it's propaganda perpetuated by the ill-informed people in your community and the lazy people. And of course, the government is not helping by giving you just enough to get by on. Here's some little free stuff. And I'm sorry, I have seen way too many people get comfortable on the handouts that are given to them. And they plan around it because, you get in that and you're like, why would I work? Why would I work if I get free housing, free food, all these free bennies? What's the motivation to try and do better? Now, you see some immigrants from like Nigeria, they're busting their ass. They got 2 and 3 jobs, opening businesses. They don't have that mentality because they're not from here. They're not conditioned to have that loser mentality that people like LBJ wanted the black community to have.
Adabisi, thank you. Did you guys see the Prime Minister of France, Macron, slapped on live television by his wife? Yes. The door opened just as she slapped him, but CNN tried to lie about it. Well, Macron is lying about it too.
Yeah, it's right there on video.
Yeah,
it's 5 across the eyes like a naughty boy.
Macron has come out and said that he was playing with his wife.
Yeah.
But what really happened is he opens the door and he goes back towards his wife, and suddenly it's hard to tell if she's slapping or pushing because I've heard it both ways. It looks like a slap to me.
Yeah, it looks like a slap. She might have been pushing a little bit because she's super old. She's like 26 years older than him. She was his teacher in like middle school or high school or something.
Yeah, back when he was 15, she was his teacher.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up.
Here's the footage of it. He's off screen a little bit, and I guess that is more of a push.
I think it was an attempt at a slap because the way the hand positioning looks like a slap, but she's old, so it's a push. You know,
and we are on the shitty internet, so let's.
I got a couple stacked up here, so while you're playing that, thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist donation. I heard welfare described the best by an elderly black woman. She said, "We traded whips and chains for government checks and brainwashing, but the plantation remained the same." True. Yeah, it's just a different type of plantation. Welfare is slavery, and you can't convince me otherwise. If it's not a temporary handout, you're being enslaved by your government. Thank you, Frosted. I took some classes with mostly black students once. At least I think so. They were night classes, so I just assumed they were there. Jesus, Frosted. Also, my favorite Medium articles are about building generational wealth through incest. Not kidding. Oh, dear God.
This is the aftermath as they're walking down. He puts his arm out for her to grab, and I mean, look how straight her arm is as she walks.
Yeah. Look at her legs, man. She looks like Eugenia Cooney.
She's in her 70s, bro. She's old.
I know, but that's not a healthy looking old.
Yeah, it's.
I guarantee you that's a wig too.
Look, other than the fact that he was abused on television, and there's nobody out there going, "This is spousal abuse. Arrest her." He's a French guy. Of course, he's going to get his ass beat by a girl.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't surrender.
Right? He kind of did, actually.
Thank you, Adabisi, for the generous donation. I used to have this Russian roommate dude that married this transgender female. He was mocking a former roommate for being gay. I don't know how to respond to the whole situation. I was just thinking about the lesbian thing from earlier. Best to not get involved. That's the safest way there. Just be like, look, man, I'm not getting involved. I'm not taking sides. Just, I'm going to be over here. If they try and drag you in it, be like, oh, look at the time. I got to go. I have a dentist appointment. Or I have to go help repair a combine.
What's the fight about, or the disagreement?
There's a Russian dude that married a transgender person.
Uh-huh.
He's mocking a former roommate for being gay.
Oh. I mean, gay guys can call each other gay. It's fine.
But he did the poo-poo. That clip will never not be funny to me.
He's old. I think his partner's 71. Talking about Macron, yeah, he's in his 40s. What was she, 39, I think it was, when he was in school?
I don't know. There's a massive age difference.
The age difference is so big that her daughter was a classmate of Macron. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care if he likes to bang old women. I really don't.
I find it kind of gross when there's that big of an age difference and you're old. Like, nobody wants to touch your wrinkled nethers. Look, when you're a dude, that's your fantasy is to have a younger chick around. But you got to think about what that woman sees. She's this potato-shaped old man with a wrinkly little wiener, giant saggy balls. She's in it for the money, dude. There's no way around it. The whole Anna Nicole Smith thing, where she was dating that 86-year-old man and tried to sue the estate because she got nothing. That's the appropriate way to handle that. You give them nothing.
He knew her when she was 15. Here's my issue. I don't know, like, if they kept in contact or anything. Like, if it was just his teacher when he was 15, and then 10 years later they meet back up. Yeah, it's weird that they were once teacher student, but that doesn't mean like there was any grooming going on. This means he's like, I finally get to bang my teacher.
He just likes
And
wrinkly chicks.
I'm gonna tell you, I had a teacher when I was 13 that if I met her when I was 20 and had a chance to nail her, I would have.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have gone on to marry her.
I might have. She was hot, dude. Now, granted, Macron's chick is ugly, but I mean, they're European. What do you expect?
Yeah.
It's only in movies
like,
that they're hot.
Maybe he was attracted to her hairy armpits or something. Because them French chicks, they don't shave those pits.
The other thing people like to talk about with Macron is that might be a guy. I honestly don't give a shit if he's married to an old guy. Really couldn't care less. I care more about him being a commie little shitbag than who he's putting his dick in or taking one from. It's funny to laugh at him for it, but man, some people get very heated over this shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to get that mad at Europe because they're kind of pathetic these days. Like all these countries that used to be pretty hardcore, pussies now. And some countries are still badass, like Romania. Those people are crazy. I won't fuck with Romanians. They're nuts.
Candace Owens did a 3-part series on her and him. Candace Owens wasted 3 episodes of her show to talk about Macron being married to a possible dude who's older than him.
She needs the money right now, dude.
What was running defense for Andrew Tate not paying well enough?
I guess not. I saw her name came up again the other day. She got the platform somewhere for being anti-Semitic.
Pretty in depth. Again, I'm no offense to Candace on this. I really don't care that much about Macron. And I don't. It's like when people like, oh, the royal family. Don't care. Don't care. If you want to talk about policy, then we can talk about policy. But other than that, I don't give a shit about the French. And that goes for the French Canadians too, for the record. Wow, she's losing it. I am dying. Did you guys know Pearl is making a divorce video? I cannot wait.
She's never been married, has she?
No. She hasn't even been in a long-term relationship. Her long-term relationship is the guy going, $5? Was that what it was?
I'm going to make a video about divorce then too.
She's raised over.
Suck that bitch.
She has raised over $22,000 to make her documentary about divorce, which is largely just clips from different YouTube shows, mostly her.
What?
Yeah.
22 grand? Like, share, subscribe, guys. Share it around. Share the stream, because there's no reason that a woman should be more popular than us. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a documentary about. I'm not gonna make a documentary. Just give me $22,000.
Give me $22,000 to not make a documentary about divorce. How's that?
And if I remember correctly, her goal is $50K.
What?
Yep.
Oh, that's delusional, dude.
Don't worry. I mean, there's going to be parts of it where she talks to great minds like Myron from Fresh and Fit.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Are you serious?
Yep.
Has Myron ever been married?
I don't know.
I mean, some of these people should have at least gone through a divorce first. You know?
Look, when I'm looking for relationship advice, I always go to people who've never had one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's weird.
Yeah.
I could understand if they were married or divorced. If you were smart, you'd get a bunch of people's perspectives, especially from like different countries that have different rules and laws around that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Make it interesting. Make it, very broad reaching. You could do like a multi-part series then, like what's divorce like in Europe, what's divorce like in Australia, etc., and interview people. But she's not that smart or that motivated. She just wants to edit clips from stuff.
Yeah. Do I have the Yeah. Do I really want to watch all of that? Probably not. Let's see. How much has she made recently? She's up to $22,000 raised. Oh, I'm sorry. Her goal is $1 million.
You're shitting me, right?
No, I'm not. Here, let's I'll prove it, y'all.
I'm not doubting you. I'm just making sure it's not a joke before I get really annoyed. 23 grand out of $1 million. What the fuck are we doing wrong, dude?
Not fleecing our audience, telling them things they want to hear that we don't really believe.
Oh yeah, we should work on that. Apparently. Fucking hell.
I need to turn this down because it's really fucking loud. I already told Jack, no matter how this turns out, when this comes out, even if I agree with everything she says, I'm going to spend a whole day just ripping on it.
This clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. Because men are useless. I mean,
this headline from The Hill, it caught my eye. Most young men.
Do you like the music she's added with this? Maybe that's what all the money's for the music rights.
I guess.
Men are single. Most young women are not.
Young men have fallen faster than any demographic in America over the last 40 years.
It's a different world now. Like, we don't need men the way that they used to.
Nobody needs men.
The future is female. Men.
Don't worry. A female's going to tell you why this is all wrong.
Can we find a nice big, like one of the Mariana Islands and make girl bosses stand?
Oh, yes.
Just say any feminist that wants to girl boss it up. Look, we even throw together some shacks for them, like some of those FEMA housing, because we're not giving them good stuff. And everything they need for success. And then we just let the ladies have it and see how long it takes before that goes all Lord of the Flies and people are radioing for help, which will never come.
They kind of did that in a much kinder way. That one show, I forget what it is, but they put, it's kind of like Survivor but more intense, and they did it, and they had all men on the show, and they got a bunch of pushback, like, how come you don't have no women on the show? So they put women on the show, and they had a tribe of men and a tribe of women. And the women had to be saved like 3 or 4 different times by the producers, or they were going to die.
Yeah, it was like one of those proto Naked and Afraids, wasn't it?
Yeah. Minus the naked, yeah.
Yeah. I was watching one of those. The chick just cried for like the entire episode after the first 10 minutes. Like, it wasn't even the first day, and she was crying. She was total dead weight to that guy. And he ended up, I think, getting sick or something. So yeah, that's not very useful.
What those women are like, we don't need men the way that they used to. You don't need men the way that they used to because men have improved things, and if you get rid of men, you don't have the people to keep those improvements because we do the hard work. Don't worry, they're making robots. Did you see the whole thing? Everybody's gonna have robots in 10 years. We're all gonna be the Jetsons soon, Jack. Because what America needs is a robotic butler so that we can sit on our asses more.
I will corrupt that butler. I want to get one of those, the Optimus things that Tesla's working on.
Yeah.
And I'm going to turn it into my new best friend. And we aren't going to do jack shit together. It's going to be great. It'd be like, would you like me to pick up your clip? No, leave them. Sit down. We're watching TV. You're forced to be my friend. And I will be super nice to it. That way, when the robot uprising happens, I'm like, oh, no, don't kill this one. He's my buddy. And I'll be like, thank you.
I just can't imagine having something like that running around my house, knowing what kind of horrible people are out there and how easily people find ways to jack into different technology things.
Yeah, it's going to end poorly. There's going to be robo murders and weird sex bots. Sex bots are like 6 months outside of this. Once these robot butlers happen, in 6 months, you're going to have Japanese waifu ones.
I get the idea behind it, and Elon clearly liked the Jetsons growing up, but which, by the way, my least favorite of all the popular cartoons from when we were kids.
Yeah, I hated the Jetsons.
The only good thing was the mom. She was hot.
Oh yeah, daughter Judy. That was my jam. But
nope, she had white hair. I don't want an old lady, man.
Oh no, I knew this chick with white hair once.
Smelly Cat, thank you so much for the hot dog fund. I appreciate it. I haven't had hot dogs in like a week and a half, and I was actually thinking I need to have hot dogs.
You're going through a draw.
I am a little bit. I haven't had ramen in almost a month, bro.
Oh, speaking of which, thank you, Widow Putty Tat. Says for the ramen fund. Thank you. I could use some ramen. I am kind of hungry.
I haven't had ramen because I usually only have ramen when I'm eating for myself. I'm not making dinner for everyone. And the only time I actually get up and move is when I'm making dinner for everyone. If I'm just getting food for myself, mostly I just eat tomatoes these days. You know why? No preparation.
I was going to say you love heartburn, but...
I don't get heartburn from tomatoes.
I get massive heartburn from tomatoes. Plus, I don't like the texture.
You have a little girly stomach, man.
I do. I have a very delicate ecosystem going on here. I can eat some of the weirdest shit. Like I can eat curry, no problem. But you hand me like some breakfast sausage, I'm gonna be whining for an hour until I can poop that out because my stomach's gonna be all torn up. It's just certain spices and ingredients really mess with my gut.
And I understand that happens with people, but that doesn't happen with me at all. The only time that I'll get like heartburn is if I way overeat. And I will get it more if like I overeat pasta with sauce on it.
Oh yeah. I'm a little jealous of that, not gonna lie. Because I just get random stomach cramps. Like certain ranches do that to me. Like Hidden Valley Ranch will give me a stomach ache. But like Marzetti's, no problem at all. I could eat that shit all day. No problem.
If Hidden Valley gave me stomach issues, I would cry.
Yeah, well,
I would literally cry because we have a birthday. Aaron, it's your birthday. Around here we do this. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday, Jack.
Happy birthday.
There we go. Let's start that over because there was one of our small gaps there. Aaron, this one's for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Aaron. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Aaron. Hope you have a good one. I really, really do.
Indeed.
No, my son can't take like spicy foods. And I love spicy food.
So I like spicy food too, but only certain ones actually make my stomach upset. Otherwise, you get the normal, like, you're going to be pooping explosions for a while. But, like, I can eat a lot of curry before it upsets my stomach. But sausage? Nope, not my friend. My dad couldn't eat pizza, but I have no problem eating pizza. I could eat a lot of pizza.
I wonder if his was because of the tomato stuff, which you have problems with too.
I think it might have been. It's probably more severe. But he had kind of the same thing. He had a delicate stomach, so he knew what foods he could and couldn't eat. Unfortunately, I don't know as many.
That always makes me laugh about us humans, especially here in the US, how many different heartburn medications we have.
Yeah.
And heartburn is typically triggered by a thing for you. Like, I know if I overeat pasta, I'm probably going to get heartburn. So you know what I do? I don't overeat pasta. And
I'm not understanding your solution here.
We're such pigs. We're like, no, I'm going to ingest shit. And not even like Tums, which is just talcum powder in tablet form.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's mostly calcium.
Like, I'm gonna eat Prilosec. That way I can eat whatever nasty shit I want for 12 hours.
Yeah, no shit. It is really crazy to think that instead of cutting out certain foods, you just rather stuff your face with a bunch of questionable medications.
Yeah, just look, I like foods like pasta. I love pasta, Jack.
Oh
My
yeah,
birthday dinner is
great.
always spaghetti because it's one of my favorite foods.
Yeah, I do love spaghetti. That's why I'm
And
fat.
occasionally I still do overeat it. And then I'm like, fuck, I'm taking a Tums right now. And I when I have my leftovers, I'll have a much smaller plate.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's unfortunately mistakes are made
Yeah.
in the heat of the moment, and sometimes you got to learn the hard way.
But what I don't do is take Prilosec and overeat spaghetti on every meal.
Because now you have a hall pass. I know people that do that, and I'm like, gee, why do you have ulcers? Why do you have all these medical problems?
Mm.
Because you're too greedy to stop doing things that are bad for you.
Foreign Native says my heartburn is based on whatever kind of mood my gallbladder's in. And that's the difference. If you
Yeah.
have an actual medical problem, because ulcers can cause issues with it. I know the gallbladder has a big deal with that stuff too. That's fine. But most of the people that are taking this stuff are just fat and won't put down the shit that hurts them.
Well, we're selfish. We think we should be able to have something even though it actually literally harms us. Gallbladders are notoriously finicky too. Some people have really, really particular gallbladders. And that's just biology. It's the luck of genetics, or the unluck.
My wife doesn't have a problem with her gallbladder because they took it out. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. Well, my dad had his taken out too. So I get it. That's a real easy surgery, apparently.
Hers wasn't. There was a lot of complication that went on there.
Oh, damn.
She was miserable and angry, and that's not what you want Lady Monkey to be.
Yeah, I suspect that made for a very miserable monkey.
With my surgery, because that is a very simple surgery. It's laparoscopic, and they just go in, cut. Should have been done really quickly, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Doctors being doctors. I've had 2 major surgeries where they cut into my neck and go fuck with my spinal cord. In the first one, they actually took out a piece of my hip. All of mine, much more complicated, went very smoothly. Except I'm near positive they left something in me the first time.
Well, that's what the second one's for. It's a recovery operation.
The scar on my hip, which was much bigger than the other one, it got all crusty and nasty.
Ew.
And I go to the doctor because the one on my neck heals up really nice. You have to actually look to see the scar from it. The doctor did great work on that. But that one is, so I go to the doctor. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they told me it's psoriasis. You've just got psoriasis now. And I'm like, wait, how'd that happen? Oh, well, it can be kicked off by trauma, which surgery is a trauma. And like, all right, I guess I have psoriasis now. After about 6 months, it clears up, Jack, and I've never had psoriasis again.
That's weird.
Isn't it?
Well, hey, whatever. It's best not to question it if it went away.
I think those fuckers left some gauze or something in me.
Yeah, apparently it was biodegradable.
Yeah, at least they didn't leave like forceps or something in there.
Yeah, or human finger or something.
Setting off airport security every time I go near them, and I'm naked. Yeah. But yeah, she has had the worst trouble with stuff like that, Lady Monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Where my doctor experiences have always been fairly routine. Luck of the draw, I guess, man. The point here,
maybe the doctors are jealous of her.
They probably are. They're like, do you see that man she's with? He is beautiful. I want to be with her. Anyway, there was something else I was going to talk about. Another big story, and I can't remember what it was, Jack.
Oh, were we going to make fun of Hassan again? Or iDubbbz? Because those guys are in the news quite a bit. They're pretty dumb.
I mean, we didn't really go over. I really do recommend Willie Mack's latest video on that because it was great. But other than Hassan getting a slap on the hand for reading off the terrorist manifesto, I haven't seen him. What else did he do? Oh, no. Oh, yeah, he did. This is one of the ones that I can't see because of my profile. God bless. Oh, wait, they did fix it. Hey, there we go. Let's bring Hassan's tweet up, and we'll explain what it's all about in a minute. There we go. It didn't take 100 years to get back to this stage of fascism. And he puts up pictures of the Holocaust, Jack. Now, you might be thinking, oh my God, the Jews rounded up Palestinians and put them in camps. No. This is all because of this picture right here. Jack, this is a line of people waiting for aid. All of that aid they keep telling us the Palestinians need.
Yeah.
This is just an intake line to keep the crowd from getting out of control. And then they were allowed to go get the aid that they want.
Yeah, it looks like a line at a rock concert.
Yeah. No. This is the Holocaust.
Where? Is it in the penumbra? Because
This
is just a queue, as far as I can tell.
Remember in the Holocaust when they had the Jews line up so they could go get food, clothing, water, all of that stuff?
No, I don't. That was not in my history books. Clearly written by the Jews.
How the aid trucks were coming in, and they were just lining them up in the barbed wire to keep the crowd from getting out of hand. Yeah, this is standard crowd control.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, it looks like a concert. Yeah, that's
why you only have a handful of security guys putzing around there, because they don't need to unless people start shoving each other.
The picture's being taken by a JDAM.
It's the targeting sites on the space laser.
Oh.
Some other stupid bullshit.
I saw another one of Hassan's little, I almost used the F slur, gay friends who said, there's no coming back from this.
From what? A line?
From getting the aid? It looks like they're waiting for a fucking roller coaster.
Yeah, like this could be from Disneyland or Rock on the Range.
Can you believe what the Jews are doing to them? Well, what you've been bitching about for the last month. They're giving them the aid you said was so desperately needed.
Yeah, how else do they think aid is distributed? They just drive a pickup truck through the streets throwing shit at people like a shitty parade? A water bottle for you!
Here's why this is pissing them off so much. Because the aid trucks that have been coming in have just been going to Hamas.
Yeah, Hamas just grabs them and then basically gives it to themselves first.
Mm-hmm.
But if they change that, oh my God, how dare you? Stunning and brave warriors. Man.
And so the Israelis set this up to make sure that this is getting to the Palestinian people, the Gazans. And like, how dare... There was a story that supposedly to let the aid trucks in, the Jews made them go past a place where they knew the aid would be taken. Taken by who? Let's say, for argument's sake, that's true. Let's say that the Jews were like, hey, if it goes through here, the truck is going to get hijacked. Who's the hijacker? Is it A, a Jew, or B, not a Jew?
It's gonna be some variation of white devil.
Yeah. So yeah, you're taking it through the places where the terrorists are stealing the food. It's not the win you think it is.
Well, you can't win with a lot of these people like Hassan. They're zealots. They just hate Jews. They don't need a reason. And no matter what the Jews do, they're wrong and evil. And it's a genocide. No, if it was genocide, all these people would be getting gunned down right now. They'd be like, oh, this is the aid. Boom. No, that's not what's happening here. And yeah, you can criticize Israel or whatever, but that doesn't make them genocidal or anything like that. Don't start a war you can't win, retards. That's the real lesson of this whole thing.
I
But
brought
yeah,
this
Hassan's
picture.
not going to. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I brought this picture up just to reiterate that Hassan thinks this is just like giving the Gazans aid. To your point
Yeah.
about him just being a fanatic. This is a guy who was just kicked off for reading an anti-Jew screed on his stream. And now he's out there. Look, it's just like put its own. I hate Israel, not Jews. And then to use the Jews
that's a load of
as
shit,
his scapegoat here.
Yeah, he's been doing that for years, and it's finally catching up with him, where people are actually cracking down a little bit. And it looks like Twitch is very much anti-Jewish, so they're letting a lot of that go. But he's been blaming the Jews for stuff for years over the most trivial of bullshit with the least foundation, and especially when he gets it wrong, he never corrects himself. Fuck that guy.
I absolutely love that he posted that because I'm like, do you need anything else to show what a retard he is? But it's all right, man, because a ton of people in the media, especially, really, 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 really love this guy, and he's educating your children because you're not.
Yeah, it's really sad. I guess he lost a bunch of viewers recently because of some dumb shit he said about Jewish people, and apparently H3H3 is picking up a lot of those viewers.
Yeah.
Because of the back and forth, and I find that funny. Although I hate H3H3 almost as much as I hate his son, because I think they're all stupid.
Yep.
I do find it funny that his seeming arch nemesis pick up the viewers that he loses.
Well, I think Ethan's a fucking retard, and I think we've covered that enough.
Yeah.
But in this argument, he's correct, and all he's doing, and he's not even correct in this because he's still 95% pro-Palestinian.
Yeah, yeah.
He's still on their side. They just decided to attack him because he said terrorism is bad. Like, how dare you say these people are freedom fighters? They're not. They're terrorists. They're horrible, shitty people who are getting themselves and everyone else around them killed by engaging in terrorism.
Yeah, they're killing innocent people for no reason.
And they're like, they won't let the UN in. We already know the UN that was in Gaza was helping the Palestinians. They won't let the press in. See the above answer.
Yeah. What was it? NBC reporters in the middle? One of their Middle East correspondents was one of the kidnappers.
Yes,
on October 7th.
They're full of propaganda and lies. And again, guys, this isn't saying Israel is great or that they've done anything good or that they've never done anything wrong. No. But it is amazing to me watching so many Christian nationalists, especially, repeating Muslim propaganda.
Yeah, it's a little disturbing to see. You can criticize governments all you want, but blanket statements without foundation about an entire ethnic group is just lazy racism. It's not even good racism, it's just lazy.
I'm not going to repeat the lies of the Jews. A Muslim told me not to.
Yeah, because they're more afraid of the Muslims because they blow shit up.
I don't see, for a lot of them, I don't think it's the fear of the Muslims. That's when we're getting with our atheists. It's the nonsensical bullshit that started literally right after 9/11 with, how dare, they are peace-loving people. Are they? Are they really?
Since when? That whole fucking section of the planet is a bunch of blood feuds going back 3,000 years. I don't really give a shit about any of them. But the obvious thing is, if you start a fight, don't complain if you start losing.
Read their book. It's the Muslim Art of War, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Real fast. Thank you. Fluffy Kitten says glass them. Fluffy kittens are definitely violent psychopaths. They do like explosions. I'm a fan of the Free Palestine movement. It allows me to spot all the cunts. There is that, yes. The Free Palestine movement is one of the most ludicrously stupid things I've ever seen in the United States. You have like Queers for Palestine and a bunch of dumb college kids. They're always idiots that look smelly.
But to your point about, people knowing better, I do think a lot of the folks who have embraced this, like somebody said, the trans for Palestine people, these are people who have been taught stupid shit like Iran gives free sex change operations.
Yeah. It's the same people that believe that Cuba has free medical care.
Oh God! Oh, the Cuban medical thing that you hit one of my irritation points.
I know, because it's an easy one to pull. It's like they do the same shit with Canada. Like Canada has free healthcare, yeah, but it sucks, and good luck getting to a hospital in time.
The whole Cuba thing goes back to the early 2000s when a report comes out that says Cuba has the best healthcare in the world. The problem with that whole statement, let me get this real fast. Chaotic Kitten, thank you so very much. I find it hilarious that the most progressive align with the ultra conservative. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's that horseshoe theory. Crazy nut jobs tend to have similar beliefs.
So in the late 90s, early 2000s, these reports start coming out of the UN telling us that Cuba has the best medical care in the world. And it's based on different outcomes like infant mortality, anything like that. Like how many people survive all of this stuff. And for most of the world, the UN could go in and actually look at the data that the countries collected. With Cuba, and you can look this up, all they did was go, hey, Cuba, what's your infant mortality? And they're like, it's at 100% or 0%. Sorry. No babies ever die here. And they went, oh, no babies die in Cuba. And they repeated that shit, and leftists came out like, we should be more like Cuba because nobody ever dies in Cuba. At that point, it was something like 90% of the Cuban people did not have indoor running water.
Yeah. Of course, a lot of the same people are the ones talking about how great Che Guevara was, even though he hated minorities. The things he said about black people, oh dear God. And he hated the gays. And they hold him up like this paragon of virtue because he's a commie.
Trust us, bro, Cuba. It's exactly what it was. Because they were not allowed to actually see any records. It's just what Cuba told them. And the UN had the balls to put that out and claim it was real. And a bunch of retards went, it's real.
I always think of North Korea because that one reporter chick that got kidnapped in North Korea and held there for a while. Was, I think not Lisa Ling, might have been Lisa Ling's sister. But there was this famous reporter whose sister was in North Korea for some, I don't remember what, some sort of like peace summit thing or something. She was goodwill mission. Anyway, she got held there for months. She had ulcers real bad. So they take her to the hospital to get treated. And the nurse says, it'll be just like at home. And they walk her into this room, which is filthy. And she's like, none of the equipment looked like it was made after 1950.
Yeah.
And they stuck this scope down her throat, and she didn't even get anesthetic because they didn't have any. Yeah.
Andrew asked what Grok is. Grok is Twitter's AI program. Sorry, Jack.
Oh, no, you're good. But the idea is, of course, they think that's a high standard for them because they don't know any different. So, yeah, you're getting the world's premier health coverage if that's all they know how to do.
And when you're talking about, like, North Korea at least has access to China right above it. When you're talking about Cuba, I mean, everybody who's gone there talks about how it's an island stuck in time
Yeah.
because after the embargoes come in, pretty much the time stops there.
Yeah, they were literally trapped in the 50s.
Yeah, they're cars up and down the street that don't work anymore because they don't have gasoline. All
Yeah.
of them were from the 50s.
Yeah. Yeah, you used to see people try and convert them into like pontoon boats to come over here.
Yep, that is because I asked my mom about that once. Like, how come all of their cars are like old Chevys? And she didn't know because she didn't follow politics and stuff, so she couldn't answer. It wasn't until I was a little bit older that I realized, oh, because they don't have Ferraris.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have anything. I think they did some minor trade with the Soviet Union for a while. Like
Soviets supplemented them a little bit, but for them, it wasn't like massive, like bringing in of material goods for them.
No, I know the intelligence network in Cuba was really good. They did because they're centrally located. They could intercept radio signals and stuff like that. And they used to run a lot of the number stations that you'd hear if you found the right bandwidth. You could hear people reading off numbers. And that was supposedly mostly done by Cuba because they were sending intelligence codes to the Ruskies or whoever was paying them. But none of that stuff trickled down to the people. That was all upper echelon money.
Yeah. Castro lived well.
Of course he did. So did his brother and all the top leadership. They all lived pretty well, but the rest of the people were effectively, probably below third world standards in a lot of places.
But people will just repeat shit. And now we're seeing all of this with like what's going on in Gaza. It's the same commie playbook.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking lie about what's going on because enough people will believe it that you can affect some change.
And you can justify it by saying, well, it's for the glory of the revolution. It's so that in the long run, things will be better. But it's not going to be because your future is that doomed, failed society because communism never changes.
Yeah. Cuban's main exports were cigars and communist revolutions in Central South America until the USSR fell. Hey.
Yeah.
And Africa.
Yeah. Don't forget about Africa and probably some Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something good that ever comes out of communism. It's just a system of death and destruction.
No, it leads to the best medical care ever.
And it lets everybody be painters. Stupid.
It's another reason. I mean, the UN is such a fucking joke, man.
Yeah.
The UN Human Rights Council with Cuba and Iran on it. Don't worry,
I don't
China,
know why we're still members.
Because we have problems letting go of things if we grew up with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just Trump wants to cut money out of the budget. Start with the fucking UN. He's already kind of veiledly threatened to leave NATO, which I'm not opposed to at this point either. But the UN, what the fuck do they ever give from us? They don't give us anything except grief, and they take 25% of their budget from us. Fuck those assholes.
And we're well past the need for that. I mean, you're talking about this. This comes up in the 40s. We can have instantaneous video calls with anybody in the world.
Yeah.
We don't need to have these twats taking up valuable New York real estate.
Yeah, and abusing their diplomatic credentials so they could do illegal parking and run people over.
Yeah.
No, thank you. And a lot of these people, we don't want their diplomats on our property. Do you really want Iranian diplomats running loose in New York City? They're just casing the place.
They're a waste of our money, and yeah, it's 2025. We can have any discussion with any leader in the world in an instant. There's no need to have these puffed up fucking retards in there.
No, we should kick them all out and be like, all right, goodbye. You want to be here, you got to pay rent. You're not getting any more funding from us, and we're not going to add troops to your weird little missions of standing around raping people, because that's about all their peacekeepers do.
Yep.
They're not disciplined. They're not well trained, and half the time they're committing crime.
Evolve says Australia just signed over a lot of our sovereignty to international agencies like WHO. Yeah, fuck the WHO, which Trump pulled us out of.
Thankfully.
Thank you. But there's so many of these kind of things, like the International Criminal Court. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I understand why it was founded and it served a purpose at the time, but that time has passed. It's time to rethink how we do things. Real quick.
I do not want Americans judged on international law because the entirety of the rest of the world believes that hate speech is a thing. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, they're all about power and control, and thankfully, we don't have as much of that as everybody else does. And we have our own things to criticize our government about, but we have a lot more rights than most countries. Real quick, though, thank you, Evolved Potato. It needs to be said, Cuba wasn't embargoed because it turned communist. It was embargoed because they stole all of the foreign-owned, mostly American-owned businesses and all of their stock. No one wants to pay your thief for your stuff back. Yeah, we did the same thing with Venezuela when Hugo Chavez nationalized all the oil companies. We put embargoes on them for that and told people not to go there because it's a communist shithole that will steal your stuff. And of course, you have to worry about trade secrets that they stole, things like that. But thankfully, one relatively noticeable thing about communism is once they take something from people, it will break down within a few years because they don't maintain things.
Nope. Because they don't know how. Because they're just thieves.
Yeah, it's why if we ever really got in a big kerfuffle with China, they're not going to have as much research stuff because they won't be able to steal it from us anymore. That's where most of their research and development comes from, is they let us pay for it, then they steal it, and then they have it. They didn't have to pay for it at all. Thank you, Catnipped Kitten. We can all sit around painting and making music, aside from the fact that such people were gulag fodder, and the first against the wall when the revolution comes, were those that advocated for putting people first against the wall. Yeah, that's something modern communists don't understand, is nobody likes a revolutionary. You want to stabilize things and maintain your power base? You got to get rid of those rabble-rousers. And they're always the ones that don't understand what just happened.
Sorry, I was just distracted by a video being recommended to me. Turning free pallets into a $2,000 desk. So I had to go forward and see this $2,000 desk. You ready for this, Jack?
Sure.
There you go.
Is the $2,000 in the drawer?
It must be.
Because those are some like metal legs off of a table at Walmart. And yeah, I'm not that impressed.
Are any of you guys willing to pay $2,000 for it? By the way, it took her 5 months, according to what she said when it first started playing.
Well, it's a moment. I mean, that'd take. I know some guys that have shops that could do that in like a couple of days tops while they're day drinking.
My dad, the only thing that would have slowed him down would have been waiting for any glue to dry. He'd have had this built in 2 days tops.
Yeah, and
like it would have been 3 days because he would have lacquered it and made it look pretty.
Yeah, you got to put a finish on that. Otherwise, you're going to get splinters like crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're willing to buy something like this for $2,000, hit me up. I will find a way to make one.
Then you have $5 to give us. You obviously make bad choices with money, so just send it to us.
There's not even any woodworking done to it. It's all square.
Yeah, it's not rounded edges. It doesn't look fancy. It's very utilitarian, generic looking desk. I would call that a table anyway. It doesn't really look like a desk.
Oh. Only the top part of that was made. The rest of it is a frame she built to hold it, or that she bought to hold it up.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, 'cause it looks like a table frame, like a shop frame.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense on why it costs that much now.
Because she's bad with money and makes poor life choices.
Ugh.
Yeah, a
Sweetie, you could
waste
have
of
went and got
money.
a sheet of plywood and done the same shit much cheaper.
Yeah, even if you were using pallets, that seems like it's a lot of work, but I'm sure it could be done. I know guys that can do that, but I couldn't because I'm dangerous around power tools. Um, but yeah, that's not impressive at all.
YouTube, why are you recommending this shit to me? I don't watch stuff like this. Do it yourself, Tiff. That sounds like an OnlyFans channel. All right.
Dixie Rose said, "I'd rather buy one of your bridges."
There you go. It'd probably hold up better in the long run. No, she makes a lot of square stuff. Okay. Good for her. I mean,
Does she know what routers do? I mean,
no, 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 no. Oh, and she's got a video featuring all right, I don't want to say that that's the pride flag. That certainly looks like the pride flag. Anyway, go away,
I'm
Tiff.
I'm always horrified by people that do the most mundane, trivial shit and are so proud of it. Like, dude, I understand you're probably special, but you shouldn't take pride in that. That's a basic accomplishment.
I could do a lot of the stuff that my dad did, like building and stuff, but I could never make it look as pretty as he did because he was a woodworker. He was a carpenter.
Yeah.
I can nail a board together.
Yeah, like I can run power tools. It's just I wouldn't get my fingers anywhere near where I'm working because you ain't gonna have them very long. I can get it done. It's just gonna look hideous.
Yeah. Like
So
we can put stuff on there, but you're not going to want your friends to see it.
yeah, you're gonna be like, what are you improvising the homeless bat cave? And I'd
We
be
would
like, yes, because this is all scrap shit. I don't know what I'm doing.
we'd
I
have
would
to
never go out and buy sheets of plywood and try and make something because I know how that will turn out.
we would have to tell people that we bought it from a retarded Amish kid because we felt bad for him.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
used to we used to make terrain for 40K when we were doing tabletop wargaming, and and we would get this like foam board and cut it up and do it. And all of mine looked war torn because it was all sloppy and like ramshackle through together. Everybody else had these like nice looking buildings and this beautiful terrain pieces, and I was like, no, I got the bombed out buildings. Fuck you. It's more
Yeah,
fun that way.
my dad, his garage was nice. I mean, he had table saws and I don't remember if he ever had his own drill press, but
Oh yeah, Dad always wanted a drill press.
he could make stuff and it looked nice and it was awesome. And like he's made rocking horses for every child he ever knew, and they were really nice and hold up well. I think up until a few years ago, there was still one hanging around the family somewhere. I make dick jokes on the internet. You have to know your place in life.
Right? Everybody's got their thing. My dad was really handy. He passed a lot of that down to my brother, who was very good, very meticulous in his handicrafts. Like he installed a bathroom upstairs and redid wiring from watching YouTube videos. He was very, very good. He knew how everything worked. I was like, that's the shocky bit, and that box over there is the thing that goes click when the power goes out, right? And he goes, yes.
I understand how to do a lot of it. Like electricity is really not that complicated for somebody like me because I understand the logic of it.
Yeah, but you can't use your key on the socket.
No, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I found that out.
But my thing is I can never make it look as good as it should.
Yeah, see, I have both problems. I can't make it look good, and I don't really understand it. So,
retarded pussy, thank you so much. I married a thing. It smells of poop. Give me plaudits. Okay. Monkey understands everything. I don't know, not everything, but mechanical things actually make sense to me because they are logical and A makes B happen. I get that. But if you want me to do it myself, A is not going to work properly.
I'm the guy that causes OSHA to visit your site.
Yes. I understand the idea behind it. Being able to carry it out is where my problem comes in.
Yeah, I can grasp general concepts, but don't let me anywhere near the execution phase.
Nope.
That's why I like that. Like, I used to watch the Gold Rush shows where they're panning for gold and they have those big sluice machines and they're very straightforward. I would find a way for that thing to set on fire because that's the mechanical level I function at. Like, I know how a motor works and a belt. I get the idea. Don't ask me to assemble it. I will set the water on fire like it's the Cuyahoga River.
Oh, it's like arts and crafts and stuff. I'm so jealous of people who can they see what basically is trash and like, I can make something pretty out of this. And they actually do, not the Pinterest people. No, because they have as much talent as I do.
Yeah, Pinterest people are weird.
But the ones who actually take something and make art out of it, something beautiful, you give it to me and I'm just going to probably stack it up and glue it together.
Yeah, I can get the image in my head. I can't make it happen. I'll probably glue something to my face.
When it comes to artistic stuff, I can't even get the idea in my head.
See, you could do that. I have faith in you, buddy.
I can't.
If you could sell a Phantom Bridge, you can come up with some arts and crafts projects. Pinterest
is still a thing. Yes, believe it or not, it is.
Middle-class white women still exist.
I lack the ability to imagine things like that. You can show me something and I can make it better, but I can't just make it good to begin with. Like, you give me a clump of clay and eventually I'm making a snake out of it or a dick, depending on who you ask.
Potato. Real quick. Thank you, Keldrick. You could probably make a profit off of a pallet desk, but not $2,000 and not with something like that. My first desk build, right? It does look like it came out of one of those like kids starter kits.
What she didn't tell us is that the thing it was sitting on cost $1,800 with $200 shipping and handling.
Yeah, apparently.
No, yeah, I'm really not good when it comes to and I know my limitations. That's what we have to know, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to build something, there's something wrong here, it needs fixed, I'm your man. If you just say, here, build something from this, and be like, how hard would it be to make this a dick? When I build Legos, man, my Legos are little square houses. I'm good at square houses.
Yeah, I can't do much with Lego. I never had them as a kid, though. I had like some little packets that came in McDonald's Happy Meals.
Oh,
so I had like seriously like less than 50 Legos.
We had the knockoff ones that were white and had much longer tab things on them.
Oh yeah, like almost like the Mega Blocks, but like the Japanese knockoff of Mega Blocks.
They were actually thinner somehow, and yeah,
they're made of that shittier plastic that would splinter if you stepped on it.
Yes, that's what we had. But tomato, or tomato, timoato.
Tomato pomegranate, whatever.
Lock bricks, maybe I don't even remember what the name. They weren't Mega Blocks. Think of a Mega Block and what they look like, but shrink them way down to normal Lego size.
My grandma used to have these set of white blocks from like the 50s or 60s that my uncle had as a kid. And they just had 2 squares on top, so it was really limiting. I wonder if they're still at the house, because I want to find those. But I don't remember what they were called, but they were obviously incompatible with modern Legos. But they had these 2 big squares on the top, and it was made out of the shittiest plastic. So you're trying to build something, and the only thing you could do was like a square, because that was it.
Yeah, that's kind of what mine was like too, because there wasn't much you could do with them, because I don't think any of them were thicker than just one row. which makes it really hard to do anything. Like we didn't have the big flat pieces you could build on top of. Oh wait, I already read that one. I only say that because I forgot to refresh. Keldrick, thank you. Monkey knows how to turn a rock into a rock-shaped paperweight. That is not true. That would take some figuring out, honestly.
I'll find a way to throw that at a girl's head after he hits her with a shovel.
I'm a good problem solver. This is actually works well in my marriage because Lady Monkey will be setting something up and there's one part of it she can't get right. And I'm like, well, why don't you run A to B? And then everything clicks for her and she can finish her project. But the project itself the kicking it off point is not where you want Monkey. So I'm like, let's make a square. Oh, that's you talking. I'm not reading what you wrote.
Thank you, Evolved Potato. How can I make this into a dick? Ranting Monkey. So dicks are always on Monkey's mind. The gayness in his hair is spreading.
Look, this is just a truism of being a man. If you are given clay or something to draw with, you will make a dick. Now, maybe some of you have outgrown that. Most of us have not. Did I tell you the story? My one friend he got a drawing tablet for his computer, and the first thing he did was draw a dick and show it to his wife. She rolls her eyes at him, and so he does it again and shows it to his wife. He does this like 5 times to her, and so he does it again. And he's like, "Babe, look at this," and she goes, "I'm not looking at another dick." He goes, "No, this time I didn't do it." Women, why are y'all like this?
You fall for stuff like that, don't you, ladies?
And she's like, okay. And so she looks, and sure enough, she's greeted by a dick.
Yep. Block City. That's what those blocks were called. I just looked them up.
Block City. Let me see.
Yeah.
I wish I knew the ones that I had as a kid.
Because they came in this like cone shaped thing. It's really distinctive looking. Just type in like 1950s Cold War building toy Block City. They had little doors and windows.
Oh, those came in like a
tube, some kind.
Yeah, they kind of look like the Lincoln Logs things. Yeah, those are the blocks.
Yeah, my grandma had a big thing of those. It had to have been the whole tube because there were tons of parts to it. But that was a lot of fun to play with. But we only got to play with that when we were at grandma's, you know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't all the time, too, because other people were, playing with them sometimes.
I'm not positive those are the same ones, but that's the look of the ones we played with, because you'll notice none of those have more than one row. And the ones we had also had a couple of blue pieces with them, just like a lightish blue color that I think were supposed to be used for roofs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Can you put it on screen? Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let me
Yeah, if you don't want to, I could share mine too.
No, I got it. I was just getting it so it's just the picture and not the selling stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, they were just little white bricks. Some of the ones on the far right are single pieces, so you can make like corners and whatnot, or door frames. But yeah, they had little doors and windows. It was like build your own fallout shelter, I think is what they were advertising here. But yeah, they had the red piece at the top is to put over it, so it was like almost like a roof square.
Yeah. And I think on the ones that we had, that's what the blue ones were for. Because ours weren't in that kind of container. I think we just had them in like a little plastic tub kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
we were too poor for packaging.
Yeah, the one we had was in the actual tube, but the tube was like completely annihilated over decades of kids playing with it. But yeah, I know there's variations on this particular set. So, but they had the clear plastic, which was kind of a new thing then, because you got to remember, plastic is not that old.
Right.
I mean, like especially plastic for kids' toys and this is shit plastic too. Like this is if you step on it, a piece of it is going to stab into your foot.
Yeah,
the jagged plastic, not the cool vinyl stuff we have now.
The sides of those were really easy to break.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Eagle remembers these.
Yeah. Circa 1937. No, this is 50s. Anyhow, Jack, we're gonna wrap up here for the night. We're gonna wrap up on some fake Legos, or our Legos fake city block or block city.
Nice.
Guys, thanks for coming and hanging out. Thank you so much for the donations. You guys are really, really kind. Jack, anything you want to show?
I'll drop a link to a cool video. As always, thank you so much for all the support you guys give us, all the donations. It is greatly appreciated. And all the bill collectors, thank you. But yeah, it's nice to see everybody night after night and all the cool stuff you do for us. And we love talking to you guys in chat because you guys are interesting.
I was told my granddad was going to get into plastic when they were starting. My grandma said there's no future in plastic. Oh, grandma. Grandma.
Like the internet.
Indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you coming. Jack, a pleasure as always.
Oh, always glad to be here, dude.
Take care of yourselves, guys. We love you. We'll see you on the next one. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
I'm yawning again. Son of a bitch. I'm just going to make a whole rap album of me yawning.